Hey everyone, how are you? Excited to connect with all of you. I just want to make sure that I'm on. Yay. Perfect, perfect. Awesome. Okay. So just waiting for one more minute. Sorry for the craziness. If I get the selfie stick, it'll be better lighting, but I won't be able to use my hands when I talk. Hey Nikki, hey Jocelyn, how are you? And so I just want to take about 15 minutes or so of your time, if you're willing to spend it with me, to connect with you about this new moon, to connect a little bit about the fall. Hey Dennis, how are you? Hope you're doing great. So just waiting for a couple more minutes. And so it's a really, I think it's a really special time, right? Hey Nicole, happy Rosh Hashanah. Hi Julia, how's it going? And so, for anybody who's just joining, I really love and have been doing this, since I'm in my 20s, following the moon cycles that shift from a different sign every 2.5 days. And for those of you who are religious, the seasonal holidays that occur, like Rosh Hashanah, right? Like on the new moon, and happens to be in Virgo this time, or people who follow other calendars, there is a correlation with where the moon is and certain meanings for the human beings on earth, right? They allow us to connect to the energy and the meaning of rebirth. They allow us to connect to the energy of change, of shifting. And so particularly this day, this time, I felt the urge. I had not planned to do this, so I just felt it about an hour and a half ago. I'm like, yeah, let me come up here and let me connect with all of you. So let's talk about the new moon. Let's talk about in Virgo how it can serve you, and then talk about its connection with the fall equinox and how it can support you, especially during this shifting time. Now, the new moon in general is, we look up at the sky, we don't see it there. There's a dark sky, and symbolically it represents the dark fertile soil in which we will plant our intentions. It represents almost a tabula rasa, not quite, but almost a blank slate, almost new territory, different soil where we can come up with ideas. So many of us use the new year, whether it's October 31st, the new year, the witch's new year, or we use January as our new year, and there are a lot of other new years. I know there's Chinese New Year and so many other new years, but we use that new year to begin fresh. And so if we'd have to wait a year to begin fresh, we'd be, a little set back because we'd have to wait a whole year. Luckily, we get a new moon every month to reassess, to reconnect, and to make choices. So many of us feel that once we make a choice that we're tied into it. I've seen people who sign even a contract and are like, now I'm stuck. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Go check out the fine print with a lawyer, or go check out the fine print with somebody who knows what they're talking about. Let us keep our mind open that while we can be committed to something, we are allowed to course correct. Okay? We are permitted to course correct. And I feel that every month this new moon is inviting us to course correct, to check in with ourselves. And in this really crazy, busy world, 25 years ago when I started going by the moon, I wasn't as busy as I am now. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Sandra. Now we're so busy. We're online. We're on social media, which is amazing and fabulous. At the same time, we have so many energies pulling at us that oftentimes we forget to check in. So the new moon for me means that there's a time for me to check in, and there's a time for me to make new choices, course correct. What do I really want? How am I going about bringing it into my life? How am I behaving in the world? Right? Because a lot of us, we say we want one thing and then we're behaving another way. A lot of people tell me, I want a business. I want my business online. I want my business. And then they tell me, well, nobody's buying, nobody's doing anything. And I'm like, well, is there an offer on the table? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, have you been sharing? Are you talking about the work that you love? Are you connecting with people? Are you creating relationships? And they're like, no. So remember, there's a lot of times when we're saying one thing, then we're doing another. And I need to connect my battery so I can be here. Okay, here I am. And so what happens is with each new moon every month, we get this really awesome opportunity to just chill for a minute, to reconnect with what's happening, and to even take a moment and jot down, like if you're a document person on your phone or on your iPad or your laptop, well, take a moment and do that. If, you still like old-fashioned handwriting, pull out your journal, create a moon journal, and every month allow yourself to start fresh. Now, obviously, we already have foundations in our lives. We have our jobs, we have relationships, right? We have our ways of living. But we can still bring in freshness. We can still bring in new ideas. As human beings, we're very much used to going, oh, this is happening. And almost like we are hopeless or helpless in the situation, like we're being dragged through the river of life. We're not being able to hold on to anything. And the truth is that we can co-create. There are going to be things that are going to be greater than us, right? Like we're talking about earthquakes and solar flares. And just for a moment, sending love to the planet right now, and to anyone who has been struggling and still gathering their home back together and their lives back together. And this is for Houston and Dominican Republic and all the islands and Cuba and Puerto Rico, Mexico, so many. And in the West, and there's so many fires. So just giving you a moment, and addressing you and feeling you. And so there are times in our lives where we feel overwhelmed, that things are coming in but we can always find that place within us to respond in a way that will keep us healthy, even if the insanity around us is pushing us to the edge. There's always a way for us, right? I know that most of us as human beings, we really need our environment. We need everything to be in alignment, right? So then we're like, now I'm happy. But the truth is, as we all know, the spiritual path, and also a healthier path and a healthier journey, is to be able to access, to give that to ourselves, to give as much health as we can to ourselves, through the way we think, through the way we act, through the way we believe. And then to seek out the external and allow the external to meet us and to join us. If we need to move to a healthier place, let's do it as soon as we can. If we need to change jobs, but we need to have the seeds of the change within us before it happens. Otherwise, what we wind up doing is repeating the patterns of, bad relationships, repeating the patterns of a crazy boss or a mean boss, repeating the patterns of lack of abundance. So we keep doing that. So every new moon, we get this amazing chance to reboot, right? To me, that is that. And I mean, Mercury retrograde is that as well, but the new moon is that. Now we're talking about it in Virgo, okay? Wow. So new moon, time to seed new thoughts, new habits, time to start stuff. I used to do a lot of affirmations and intention setting on the new moon and writing it all down in these notebooks when I was younger. And now I do it more within myself. I light my candle, I have that moment, and I set these intentions. And so when we're talking about Virgo, now the first feeling that comes up for most of us when we talk about Virgo is Virgo the Virgin. Like there's something about purity, cleanliness, health. There's something about organization. And so when we connect to a deeper energy of Virgo, Virgo is inviting us into many different things. It's inviting us to look at our habits, our day-to-day way of existence. Hey, Glenda. It's inviting us to look at how we're serving in the world, right? I also think it's inviting us to look at how we're being served in the world. It's also inviting us to look at how can we refine things, right? To me, Virgo is also a process of refinement. And I happen to have Jupiter in Virgo and a couple of other things in Virgo and South Node. So in another life, I was an expert in this, right? How do I organize and refine the systems, refine the things that keep me healthy? And I know it doesn't sound sexy, right? A lot of people rather celebrate like the moon in Leo or the moon in Scorpio or something else, moon in Pisces or something, moon in Taurus. When we're talking about moon in Virgo, a lot of people are like, organization, cleaning, this energy. The truth is, if we don't know what we want and we don't get clear, it's harder to assess when we receive it. It's harder to assess when we're actually living it because we don't really know what we want. So we're floating along life. So to me, Virgo is the invitation to know what you want. Know what you want. And when we know what we want and we can move towards it, we can start refining the systems, right? Like there are people who come to me and say, I want to start a business and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, well, how are you doing it? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, is there a booking link? Is there a website? Is there this? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I just do it whenever it comes up. I'm like, but do you really want it? They're like, yes. So that type of energy, we need to sit that down. We need to ground it into the earth. Because no matter how we soar, no matter how high we fly, right, we need a nest to return to. We need a branch. We need a house. And I feel that Virgo is offering that to us. The stability, the foundation, the roots and the structure from which we can build, right? Build health, build community, build our service, build our businesses. And so this is the energy, and that's why it's got me excited, because although it's not like a sexy moon, I happen to think that when my structures are flowing well, when I know what I want, I'm like, oh, I did it. I did it. And I feel really excited about that. It makes me really happy to feel that I am making an impact, to feel that I'm resonating with people. And so remember, while the new moon in Virgo may not feel sexy to you, it is calling you loud and clear to clear up, to clear the decks, in some way or another, so we can refine the purpose. We can refine what we're wanting. So we're going to do a little meditation on that in a moment, but I just wanted to give you that, that insight, because I am in love with this moon. I'm like, ooh, I actually wasn't very interested in Virgo actually dating Virgos right out there, and no problem, no issue with Virgos, because they're awesome. And now I'm dating one, I'm living with one. And so there's this thing that sometimes we push away as spiritual people. As spiritual people, there's an energy sometimes of dreaminess, of wanting to let go of the foundation. We don't sometimes like the world. A lot of spiritual, idealistic, activist, passionate human being, conscious driven, who want a better world, we're kind of in rejection of the world a little bit. We're like, yeah, we don't really want it, right? The thing is this, we chose somewhere along the way to incarnate in a body. We chose somewhere along the way to come into the planet in a body. So part of our lesson, part of what we're here to do, is to actually be a soul in a body. So the more we reject structure, the more we reject, Capricorn and Taurus and Virgo, the more we reject looking at our day-to-day practices and our routines, the more we're doing ourselves a disservice. Because we're not just in spirit form, we're in a body. So if we're not eating properly, if we're not having a clean environment to work in, if we're not being in integrity about our work, how can we keep growing? We're just not going to be able to grow. And that's the shit that Virgo is calling us to clear, right? Is to really get down into that and just be really precise about it. How do we want it? How does it look? How does it feel? What did I want to say about Virgo? Something else is coming to me. It's about owning what you want, right? Let me see what some people, it's about owning what we want. A lot of times when we get into a relationship, we get into life, we get into a business, we're like, yeah, I just want to help people. I just want a really good partner. Well, do you want a partner that smokes? Do you not want a partner that smokes? Are you able to be open to that? Do you want a business that's one-on-one? Do you want to serve groups? Do you want to work with other people? Do you want investors? Do you not? These are questions that for a lot of spiritual folk, it's like, but the more we allow ourselves to relax and understand that they're going to help us shape our dream, it's going to be easier. So let's not be afraid of it. Let's see what Kimberly says. Oh, yes, I felt that Virgo vibe when I summoned the willpower to do my yoga practice this morning. Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. It's getting to the mat, doing something that happens every day. I tend to attract a lot of Virgos. I'm married to one. Yes, I totally adore mine. My earth sign side won't let me reject, even when my Piscean mood wants to ignore it. I know, Shama. Yeah, Virgo's owning what we want. Boom. Yes, that. And so owning what we want is going to be key. If, somebody says, Vanessa, what do you need right now in terms of your business? I'm going to be able to go boom, 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 boom. Because I've analyzed it. I've fallen into it. I've owned the fact that, I want global impact. I didn't own that before. I was really happy being, shadow priestess, because priestesses naturally and traditionally were kind of hidden, right? Some of them were warrior priestesses, etc., oracle priestesses, but the truth is that we served people almost without a face. And so I was very happy being the priestess archetype. And mind you guys, Virgo is also the healer, right? The inner healer. Well, yeah, it's the inner healer. It's like it's the Vestal Virgin. It's the keeper of the flame, right? the Vestal virgins were virgins and they served the flame. And so they were there in the temple. Nobody really knew their faces, knew their names. And so to me, by owning what we want, we can then transfer and keep traveling from Virgo into the next sign out, into the next sign out, and exploring our presence in the world. But first we have to own it. And so for you guys, you know, I recently realized that I was like, well, been great being the priestess behind the scenes. It's not enough for me. I want to reach out to my Latin people. I want to expand. Virgo is wholeness of the self, says Nikki Bracco, owning our purpose, owning our devotion. I have a Virgo moon in the 12th house. This is such contrast. Wow, absolutely incredible. Yes, absolutely, because you have it in the 12th house, which is the Pisces house. Right, I'm a south node in Virgo with a north node in Pisces. And it's integration, right? It's integration, it's discernment. And so owning what we want, owning our purpose, as Nikki said. Thank you so much. And guys, everybody, check out Nikki's stuff. I love it. I think she's really wonderful. And she does guides every month for the new moon and the full moon. So go to her page and check out her stuff, because she's really walking it. And I really adore her. So sending you so much love. And check out Shama's stuff as well. She may have done a video today. I'm not quite sure. But check her out as well. She's a wonderful hypnotherapist. And so many people here are. This community is so filled with love. The moon is making me very sleepy. It's what I usually get with full moons. This is different. Absolutely. So what we're getting here is this thing to own who we are, to get really clear and to clean out stuff, right? And at the same time, we're heading into, so today's actually the moon in Virgo, and then I think 2 days from now, we're heading into the fall equinox, right? Into the fall equinox spiritually. It's like the days are equal lengths, and it happens twice a year, in the spring and the autumn. And interestingly, you know, it's coming into the sign of Libra, right? Which is scales and balance. So when we're talking about spiritually, what does the fall mean? The fall is also a time to sit and look at what we've planted, right? And look at what our harvest is. What are we reaping from our actions? What are we reaping? So how amazing that we've got this new moon in Virgo, and then we've got this whole energy of checking out what we've been reaping, what we're sowing. You know, did we put our energy into the right place? Where were our investments? How are they coming back to us? Are they coming back to us? Right? And that's the first level to me of the harvest. And then to give really deep gratitude. To give gratitude. You know, in the old days when we had the harvest, we've worked all year, we had the harvest, we were saving up to survive the winter. And so to me, it's almost like all of us as a collective are being invited to own our purpose, to have more discernment, to clean up the shit, right? Today, and then in the next 2 days to take stock, take inventory of what did we want for this year, how far are we, what did we achieve, to be grateful for whatever we've achieved, and then to start preparing for the winter. Because in this essence, today it's equal day, equal night. Tomorrow, the day after the day after, the days get shorter. We're being invited into the dark, right? As we go into winter, symbolically, we're going into that deep dive of self, right? Of discovering other parts of ourselves. Our worlds are going to get a little quieter. We're going to go inward to be reborn next year in the spring. So what are some of the, if you have a business or you've written a book or even a relationship or a career or a family or personal goals, take into account, you know, clean up stuff on the new moon, but going into the fall, be grateful for what you've attained and then feel into, well, how can I tweak this? What else do I need? What are the things that you need to put into effect in October, November, and December, and you know, even January and February, the next 4 or 5 months, to bring you a new birth for next year? Now, obviously, we can't always know all those answers, right? We can't know exactly what we need to do. But intuitively, at this moment, what do we need? I love that. Yes, I like the Virgo Tarot and the Hermit shafts of wheat adorn that card. Absolutely. And so I want to invite you guys who are still here to let's go within for about 5 minutes and connect to the energy. So remember, invited into discernment, cleaning up house, and integration, owning what we actually want. Say it out loud, write it down, be clear. Clarity is what's going to bring you closer to what you're desiring. And then from there, the next 2 days, Take inventory. Sit down for a minute. I know that I started to do that yesterday, and you know, because I was so, and for any of you who are, you know, you're go-getters, obviously, if we're here, who are a little upset, like you wanted to get along further, that you wanted to be done, you wanted to be more ahead, you wanted all this energy, because I have all that fire signs in me too. Chill for a minute. Let's look at what actually happened. What was the process that you were in this year? Because honestly, I know I've done a lot this year, a lot. Like I've uprooted my life, started a whole new program into another area that I've been doing secretly, but I haven't been vocal about, you know, intuitive business. And then when I sat down and wrote stuff down, I was like, whoa, I love this chick. This chick is a badass. Like she handled this and it was me. And so the energy of I should be further along. What's going on? What's going on? Take inventory in the next 2 days. Because you may not be further along physically yet, in abundance yet, in clients, or in the love that you're wanting, or the health that you're wanting. But there's stuff you've been working on internally. And as you allow that to integrate in this new moon and give thanks for it in the fall, maybe do more work in the winter, the benefits are going to be reaped. You know that the stuff is going to unfold for you. So trust that. Trust the process. Do assess if you've done everything that you need to do, because, you know, some of us receive a lot of guidance, and we've all done it at some point. We receive our internal guidance, then we don't follow through. And we need both. We need the woo, and we need the, you know, we need the practical. Pisces is going to go down into Virgo, right? My North Node is up here, and my Virgo is going to support my Pisces rising up and being spirit in the world. But I've got to have my structure together. So inviting all of you who are still here and anybody listening and watching to let's dive in for a moment. And so just gently allowing our eyes to close and taking a deep breath in and exhaling and allowing and allowing. With every breath in, allowing ourselves to relax and let go. With every exhalation, releasing what we don't need. And every breath in, allowing ourselves to be present. And imagining now that we are outside, that we are allowing ourselves to imagine that there is a beautiful forest. And as we look up, we see that there is no moon. And it brings an excitement and an energy into our hearts. Because there is so much to still create. This darkness, the absence of the bright moon, is inviting you, inviting us to state out loud, to set our intentions, to own our purpose, to own what we're really, truly wanting. What am I here to do, and how am I going to do it? As you breathe in this awareness, you see that there is something in the forest, and it's not too deep. There's a little pathway, and as you begin to walk in, you see that it is a beautiful temple. And as you allow yourself to walk into this temple, there is a priestess within. And she's kept this temple tidy and clean and organized. And there's a flame behind her that is shining brightly. And it will shine brightly as we continue to explore, to release, and to go even deeper into the seasons, into the winter. And she quietly looks at you. And as she looks at you and you smile at her, you ask this Virgo priestess, what do I need to know right now? Breathing that in. And then asking this Virgo priestess, what do I need to shift in order to create what I am desiring in my health or my love life or my business or my career or friendships? What do I need to shift? As you allow her to guide you with this information, the information may come to you in words or feelings or thoughts. And then asking her, what is the most efficient, productive way that I can shift this in order to experience what I'm desiring and wanting. And giving thanks to her. And giving thanks to yourself for being that person who is a seeker, who is a transformer in your own life, within your own life, and also with others. And taking another deep breath in. And exhaling. And knowing that you're ready to release what needs to go. Knowing that you're ready to get clear and more efficient and streamlined on what you're desiring to manifest in life and bring in. And gently opening your eyes. And so, Virgo gives us more clarity. Simple, in this case, is best. The simpler, the better. And you know, I work with a lot of people who are building their businesses or have creative endeavors, and there's so much complicated stuff, all these ideas, all this stuff. And especially people who are freaking out, like, I don't want to market, I don't want to sell, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And I just ask them, what's the easiest way for you to communicate with people? Is it images? Is it voice? Is it words? Is it video? What's the easiest thing? And they're like, oh, I love to write. That's it. Just do that then. So let's make it a little simpler, because sometimes we pile on all the, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, but we don't start. We don't start. We don't start, we don't begin, we don't move. And then we look back and our dreams are still that dreams. And in order to actually manifest our dreams, we have to begin. And to me, simpler is best. A lot of entrepreneurs, you know, who are already established, especially those that think very much ahead with business plans, and nothing wrong with that, are almost reticent to even begin service before they even start to create anything. And I say this, I say begin wherever you are. And then if you want to do the investor route or the any other route, with the, you know, business plan, etc., you can do that later. But showing up and serving is also part of Virgo. So how are you showing up as you're owning your own purpose, as you're having discernment and clearing up the cobwebs? How are you showing up to serve others is also key. So thank you so much. And I do want to thank you because as part of my harvest in the next 2 days, part of my whole thing this year was to connect with more of you online and do Facebook Lives and videos. And I have to say, since April, I've done an English and Spanish video 5 days a week. I think I missed only maybe a week when I was sick or something. But other than that, it's been going. And thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this journey. Thank you for staying on. And I'm sending you so much bountiful love and gratitude. And just don't be so hard. Let's not be so hard on ourselves, none of us. You know, we can always course correct. There's always a way to course correct. There's always a way to refine. And we do have to start by loving ourselves, appreciating ourselves, being grateful for what we do have, and then just being really, like really honest with ourselves. What are we wanting? What are we wanting to bring into the world? What are we here to do? What are we here for? And when we get that clear, it becomes easier to see the path. So sending you all so much love. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.